745 on News Radio 1000 KTOK. Happy to be talking to Senator James Lankford on News Radio 1000 KTOK. Senator, I know you're not a betting man, but do you have an up and down or up, over, under, whatever you want to call it, on the Supreme Court's decision on the Affordable Care Act?
You are correct. I'm not a betting man on that, but I would say we don't know, number one, what day it's coming out. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be Monday.
Oh, okay.
My guess is most likely it comes out Monday, but we'll wait and see on that. The big issue really becomes what will they decide, and that's the great unknown. I would tell you that if you look at the plain text reading of the law, it says that the subsidies and the mandates only apply to states that establish their own exchange. The Obama administration's reinterpreted that and put subsidies and mandates on every state, even states like ours that have a federal exchange. So that's going to be one of those interesting questions for the Supreme Court. Are they going to try to be inventive with the law, or are they going to read the plain text of the law?
This is in relation to the Affordable Care Act, and Senator James Lankford joining us on News Radio 1000 KTOK. Does the court play the media games? I mean, are they the type that would want to release this information as late as possible so that they can get out of town and not have to worry about the media frenzy?
I would say if it's like they did with the decision 2 years ago on Obamacare, they released it. It was the very last thing they released, and then they all left for their European vacation and disappeared for 2 months. So I would expect it's entirely likely there are two major decisions that are still left. That is one on marriage, whether marriage is between a man and a woman or whether marriage is not between a man and a woman. They still have to decide that one on the federal side, and then the issue on the Affordable Care Act. Both those are pending. Both those are obviously very heated arguments, and they're waited to the very end to release them.
Shifting gears a little bit, Senator James Lankford on News Radio 1000 KTOK. This data breach, and you had an opportunity to talk to some of these people one-on-one, but is there no way they didn't know about the not the 4.2 million, but 4 times that many people were affected by this data breach?
Yeah, there are really 2 data breaches that have happened.
Oh.
One of them larger than the other one. So they initially put out a result of 4 million, and they keep saying there's this 4 million number. That's the first of them. Then there's one several months later that they've yet to actually release a public number for how many were involved in that. And that's the one that there's a continual push to try to get a number. The number is harder to do when you access these files, because they may find out how many access they could have gotten to, but they don't know exactly how many they did get to in that and how many they did download. So it's a little bit difficult to be able to get a number. The big issue really is they weren't managing well some basic security. That's verification, that's password verification, being sloppy with that, authorization for different computers in the system. So some basic issues they were not fulfilling there and leaving some gaps in their security network. So this wasn't an issue of just having old machines. This was an issue of not keeping up software, an issue of not protecting passwords.
Now, I don't know how old you are, Senator, and I'm not going to ask, but I do know, and if I understand this correctly, they're still using a computer drive system that is Cobalt. Back in 1985, when I was a freshman in college, they were still teaching Cobalt, and 2 years later, Windows came along and blew everybody away. Is that true?
That is true. On one of their systems is Cobalt. Now, it's not the highest security system there, but one of their systems is Cobalt. It was one of the struggles that they've had is that they've not maintained their software. They've just not kept it up, and it's not just a recent issue. They haven't done it for a couple of decades now. And this is a problem that's across the federal government. Many of these agencies will develop a specialized program that they'll say, well, we do accounting different than anyone else, so we have to have some company actually create our accounting software. We can't get off-the-shelf stuff, which is absolutely not true. Many of these agencies can use off-the-shelf software for their accounting, and that also, those companies actually maintain and keep doing updates. It's incredibly expensive for the taxpayer for them to use these older systems. But it's also not secure when you deal with cybersecurity issues.
James Lankford, our senator on News Radio 1000 KTOK, and once again you had an opportunity to talk to the EPA. Did you have any luck about their rules regarding renewable fuels?
Yeah, we did have some luck on dealing with this. This has been an ongoing issue for me dealing with ethanol. I've done multiple hearings and continue to meet with the EPA. Whether you are for ethanol or against it, and I'm one of those that says ethanol is not a bad choice. People want to choose it. They just shouldn't be mandated to choose it.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Whether you're for it or against it, the EPA has had major problems handling this rule. They're 18 months late on the 2014 quantities that have to be used of ethanol. So literally companies are being required to say, well, the EPA hasn't decided yet how much ethanol you're going to have to use for last year. So it's just chaos in their system, and is driving up the price for all of us at the pump, just based on the EPA's inability to be able to get stuff done.
Yeah, well, that's par for the course, unfortunately, at 7:50 on News Radio 1000 KTOK. James Lankford, thanks for joining us.